Let me tell you the story of a man. He's looking for a new job, and out of the 20 advertised, he chooses one to apply for. Out of all the candidates, he is one of those called for an interview. He does so well at the interview, he is offered the position over any other candidate. He accepts. On his way out of the building, he has a conversation with a woman. They hit it off, and he asks her out. She, attracted to his confidence and pleasant manner, agrees. They go out. In time, they fall in love, they get married, and live happily ever after. And all because of discrimination. What? Well, let me explain. The first act of discrimination was that of the 20 advertised positions, he applied for one. What was wrong with the other 19 positions? He discriminated against them. The second act of discrimination was that he was selected for an interview. Not everyone was selected. The third act of discrimination was that he was offered the job over every other candidate. The fourth act of discrimination was that he asked a particular woman to go out with him. Why this particular woman? Because he likes her? Because he finds her attractive? Because they get along? This is even worse than I thought. Here are 4 separate acts of discrimination. He asks a particular woman out? That's discrimination. Because he likes her? That's discrimination. Because he finds her attractive? Discrimination. Because they get along? Again, discrimination. This particular woman isn't the only woman in the world. If he gave other women a chance, he might find one he likes better. He might find one as attractive, maybe even more attractive. He might even find one he gets along with better. But instead, he discriminates against every other woman in the world in favour of this particular woman. Then, to put the final nail in the coffin, he falls in love with this particular woman and then compounds the issue by marrying her. Every time you or anyone else makes a choice between 2 or more choices, that is an act of discrimination. Coke or Pepsi, vegetable or salad, local or international. Each decision is an act of discrimination. So how can you live a life free of discrimination? The answer is you cannot. To live is to discriminate. It's that simple. So if that is true, how can things such as anti-discrimination laws and anti-discrimination commissions exist? How can they work if every decision is an act of discrimination? They exist because some people believe, rightly or wrongly, that certain groups of people have been discriminated against and that should be fixed or corrected. It works by discriminating in favour of one group and therefore, by definition, discriminating against anyone who does not belong to that group. How is that anti-discrimination? It's not. Anti-discrimination laws and commissions discriminate for and against certain groups of people. It is anything but anti-discrimination. The argument is that anti-discrimination is needed to protect and help vulnerable people who are the victims of negative discrimination, whereas other groups have benefited from positive discrimination in their favour. There are 5 groups around the world who it is said have and are the victims of negative discrimination: Indigenous groups, minorities, immigrants, women, and homosexuals. The results are mixed. For Indigenous groups and minorities, it has failed. Their lives as a group are no better than it was 40 years ago. For immigrants, the results are mixed. For women and homosexuals, it has been a success. But that success has come at a price, because when you discriminate in favour of one group, you discriminate against another. For every act of discrimination in favour of an immigrant, there is an act of discrimination against the native-born. For every act of discrimination in favour of a woman, there has been an act of discrimination against a man. And for every act of discrimination in favour of a homosexual, there has been an act of discrimination against a heterosexual. There is no anti-discrimination without discrimination.